Hello and good evening, all of you. I hope all of you are doing great. So today's discussion is a recent case decided yesterday only by the Punjab and Haryana High Court, relevant for your judiciary preparation because you will understand certain provision-based questions here, which can be asked directly, or you will also see that it can be asked in your problem-based question as well. Okay, so let's try to understand the sections that you have to remember from today's class, from today's discussion. And then I will take you through the facts, the name of the case, and what has been held here. Now, if you've seen the poster of today's class, it is basically about a child in the womb of the mother, whether he will be considered in deciding the claim of compensation under the Motor Vehicles Act. So what am I talking about? देखिए आपको इजी समझने के लिए मैं दोनों लैंग्वेजेस को प्रेफर करती हूँ, हिंदी एंड इंग्लिश, बट मैं दोनों चीजों को रिपीट कर देती हूँ. मोर और लेस आई ट्राई टू कवर इट इन बोथ दी लैंग्वेजेस. ओके, सो आज की डिस्कशन जो है वो बेसिकली है ट्रिब्यूनल जो हमारा मोटर व्हीकल्स एक्ट के अंदर डिसाइडेड ट्रिब्यूनल है, एस्टैब्लिश ट्रिब्यूनल है अंडर सेक्शन 165. अगर उसने एक कॉम्पनसेशन डिसाइड की है तो उस कॉम्पनसेशन को डिसाइड करने की असेसमेंट के ग्राउंड्स क्या होंगे, आप उसको चैलेंज कहाँ कर सकते हैं, और इसमें कॉम्पनसेशन को अप्लाई करने के लिए एप्लीकेशन कौन फाइल करेगा. दीज आर दी डिस्कशंस दैट वी विल ट्राई टू कवर टुडे. Okay, now let's try to understand. First, we have section 165. You have to remember 165, 166, and 173, at least from today's class. Okay, now 165, as you can see, establishes or tells us that there will be claims tribunals established by the state government. Okay, the structure of it, who can be the qualified people for appointment in it, you can refer to section 165 for the same. Now, in our case, the facts disclose that there are certain parties, okay? The deceased person, the one who has died here because of the accident that took place. And the accident took place between the deceased coming from his bike versus the party here, the wrongdoing party here, who was coming and who was in his tractor. So the vehicle used his tractor. The evidences and the witnesses have disclosed the fact that he was driving in a rash and negligent manner. And therefore, in this situation, the legal representatives of the deceased person has filed an application under section 166. So 166 says that an application for compensation arising out of an accident can be filed here where the death has resulted from the accident by all or any of the legal representatives of the deceased. Okay, so I hope you've understood why 165 and 166 I have tried to highlight here for this understanding of this case. Now, which case am I talking about? So this is the name of the judgment decided by the High Court of Punjab in Haryana, as I told you. And here we have to see that what are the different grounds of assessment by which the tribunal or the high court can decide as to the amount of compensation. Now, before we begin into the discussion, let me just tell you that we have Schedule 1 to the Motor Vehicles Act. If you refer to Schedule 1, you will see that it does disclose certain factors. For example, it will tell you the amount of compensation, the age that is so mentioned there, and then the multiplier that will be there. Okay. Now, all of this, we will try to see the applicability and the practicality of it. आपको जजमेंट दिखाने का और उसकी कॉपी से एक ग्लांस थ्रू करने से आपको ये समझ आ जाएगा दैट हमने जो लॉ में पढ़ा है उसकी एप्लीकेबिलिटी कैसे हो रही है. सो इस पर्टिकुलर केस में वेयर द फैक्ट वेरी क्लियरली डिस्क्लोज about the accident that took place because of the carelessly driven vehicle by the Rameshwar, who is respondent here in this case, or where we are claiming for compensation under section 166. The evidences have disclosed the same fact. Now the tribunal decided something. Okay, let me tell you, when you go to the claims tribunal, if you are not happy with the amount of compensation, you can file an appeal for the same within 90 days to the High Court. And that is where the High Court is answering this particular case here. So the jurisdiction of High Court has been invoked because an appeal was filed here from the order given by the tribunal. What is the amount of compensation that was decided by the tribunal? It is 8,84,000 with an interest of 7% per annum. So this is the compensation that has been decided. Now, section 173 of the Act. We have discussed 165, we have understood 166, and now we come to 173. Okay. So 173 tells you this point that I have just discussed, that if you want to challenge, if you want to go for an appeal from the order of the tribunal, you can do the same by virtue of section 173 in the High Court. And that is how it has been so invoked here as well. All right. Now, the High Court has missed on certain aspect, which the tribunal has missed on certain aspect, okay, which the High Court has tried to remedy. So, हमारे पास दो bodies हैं यहाँ पर जो आपको mindfully याद रखनी है, ओके और क्यों हाई कोर्ट ने कैसे इम्प्रोवाइज किया है, जो क्लेम है पार्टीज का उनको कॉम्पनसेशन कैसे इम्प्रोवाइज किया है वो समझना है, ठीक है. सो 8,84,000 डिसाइडेड बाय द ट्रिब्यूनल. The High Court now pitches in and the High Court says that we have to be mindful of certain things. Now, what are these certain things? First, the age of the deceased person is important. Okay, so the age of the deceased person is 24 years. And when we refer to the Sarla Verma case, we understand that for the age group of 15 to 25, the multiplier of 18 is applicable, which has been decided. So we basically multiply. The more you age, the multiplier will be lessened. Okay, so आपकी एज बढ़ती जाएगी, मल्टीप्लायर कम होता जाएगा, जो हम अमाउंट एग्रीवेट निकालने वाले हैं उससे, ठीक है. सो ये जो एज ग्रुप है बिटवीन 15 to 25 एक लैंडमार्क केस है जिससे हमें क्लियरली बताया गया है दैट द मल्टीप्लायर विल बी 18 टाइम्स ऑफ दिस अमाउंट ऑफ मनी. नाउ दैट इज व्हाई एज बिकम्स इंपॉर्टेंट. The next factor is, what was the income of the deceased person? So here the facts disclose that the deceased person was a laborer. He had his own shop, material shop, building material shop, and therefore he used to earn approximately 6,000. So क्योंकि वो data concrete नहीं है, the court therefore refers to the minimum wage that are notified by Government of Haryana. And from that minimum wage, the court comes to the conclusion that for this unskilled labor, we assume that the minimum wage would have been 7,200 for him per month that he would have made by professing or by running this particular shop. Okay. Now this amount has come to us 7,200 also. Now the next step would be to find out the number of people that are there who are dependent. Okay, so the deceased had 3 dependents. But here the High Court also takes note of the fact that the deceased also was survived by his mother, who is the guardian or next friend of the minor child. And that is where we have to make a deduction from the every month income. So the every month income is 7,200. Now we have to make a deduction of personal expenses. Had the deceased been alive, he would have made certain personal expenses, right? So initially the tribunal had deducted 1/3 of the amount of money, but the High Court, taking note of the fact that the mother is also there, now says that the deduction will be of 1/4 of the income of the deceased. So these are calculations which are done when we are assessing any claim which is related to motor vehicles dispute and any claim which we are seeking by filing an application under section 166. Okay, तो आपको ये aspects याद रखने हैं कि ये 166 के claim में आप कैसे क्या-क्या factors important हो जाते हैं. ठीक है. So हमारे पास amount आया, we ensured the deduction that is to be done. Now we understand from the judgment that the multiplier of 18 will be done, and there are other expenses. For example, the expenditure of funeral, right? So the funeral expenses were also granted and given by the tribunal, and which is again reiterated by the High Court as well. Now coming to the important aspect of a particular fact, which I will write for you. This is unauthorize mayor. What does this mean? This means the child in the womb of the mother. Now understand, what is this basically about? If you have studied property law or if you have not studied property law, you can definitely look up for this concept wherein you will see that the property law covers certain set of rights that a child in the womb of the mother possesses. Okay. When we talk about tortious liability, even though this person is still in the womb of the mother, is not a legal person as you and me, still the law considers and grants certain set of protection and rights to the child in the womb of the mother. So I've given you two examples, property law, torts law, and now you see here also the liberal view taken by the Punjab and Haryana High Court, wherein they have considered and acknowledged the fact that when the father died, when the deceased Rakesh Kumar met with an accident, after that, within a period of 2 months, the child took birth. And because the child is also here now, he is also entitled to compensation under the Motor Vehicles Act. So remember, this is a crucial point for your exam perspective. A child who was in the womb of the mother, while granting compensation when he has taken birth, his share or his entitlement to the amount of compensation will also be considered by the court. And this concept can be understood from the maxim of on vontrisa mu, okay, which means that in the womb of the mother, mere is mother, vontre is womb. So this is the crucial factor which has been decided by the court here. I told you about the Sarla Verma case that also has been referred in the judgment, and accordingly, this is the compensation that is so awarded. So what all is done? Monthly income, we take cognizance of that. Very, very important point, the future prospects also. So the court has clarified that we have to see the conventional heads, yes, that these are the dependent and these are the people, but we also ensure the fact that he would have had some future prospects also, right? So the concept of future prospects has been taken care of by the High Court. Then the High Court has done the deduction, that is 1/4 of the total expenditure. Total monthly income has come to this, multiplier, loss of consortium, and loss of estate. These are additional 2 points, which again the High Court has taken cognizance of, and the High Court says that there is definitely loss of estate also and consortium also, right? And accordingly, acknowledging the same fact, now from the tribunal, the High Court has enhanced the amount of compensation. So that is how you can read and you can understand this judgment. Very, very relevant when we talk about, exams where Motor Vehicles Act is asked, where specifically you have this particular law in your examination. And when we know that the trend of the exams is, wherein they very clearly and specifically ask you questions from recent judgment. So this becomes very relevant. I have highlighted certain sections for you. For example, you should be knowing Schedule 1, you should be knowing Section 165, 166, and 173, at least from today's discussion of 10-15 minutes, which we have done. I hope this was helpful for you. This has benefited you, and I hope you will be able to understand Motor Vehicles Act better after knowing the nuances of this judgment. Also, I hope you will remember the fact that even though a legal person is different from a child in the womb of the mother, the jurisprudential aspect of it and considering certain rights that we grant to this particular, the child in the womb, we do acknowledge the fact and we do grant them certain set of rights. So I'll see you again with another judgment, another relevant case. We are continuously covering recent judgments, landmark judgments from the previous year, as well as all the upcoming judiciary examination. For example, I am myself doing a lot of videos on how to attempt your questions for Rajasthan judiciary exam. I take up topics from different subjects. So one day I have done already a video on interpretation. I have also done a video on the understanding of the rights related to property law. You can definitely watch those. We are covering different preliminary as well as mains based question specific aspects also. So you can watch the LiveLaw Academy platform. You can definitely follow us for more updates. Thank you so much, all of you.